Wanted to put my last video out for today. I'm just trying to get these knocked out because I have a lot going on and I'm not sure when I'll have time to upload any more videos. But basically, my last experience renting and what pretty much sent me over the edge into getting, you know, in a state of mind of being determined to own my own place, which has been a long time goal. So again, some of you know that I just become a new homeowner, and I'm really excited about that. But basically, what happened was last year, after I had been renting from a property management group for about 10 years, the last 2 years ended up getting rocky, and so it started off with basically them acting very suspicious, bringing appraisers in like every 6 months, and seeming very sneaky about things. And then it got to the point where I started asking questions because I was like, well, what's going on, because I noticed that this was something that was becoming frequently. So they did not divulge any information. They basically, until I asked them about why they keep having people coming in here, and if they were trying to sell the place or like what's going on, they basically didn't tell me until after that, yes, they've been trying to sell this place, but that had already been going on for like close to a year. So I knew that things were getting close to the time where we may have to move, and we just didn't know when. But then basically around Christmas last year, well, basically after Christmas, 3 days after Christmas, I get served with 60-day notice. But by then, things hadn't been going good. Like, they started harassing me over little things, like telling me I can't keep my kids' toys outside. And I had just did a dump run because they made a big deal about it. And I had got, like, rid of some old things that were out front, but wasn't really anything that I would consider to be an eyesore. Because as a renter, I really took a lot of pride in renting and taking good care of the place. However, it just so happened that this place was in bad shape, and I didn't realize until I was already moved in how poorly this place was maintained. And because I had outgrew my last place, and the neighborhood kind of got rough for where I was living before, I decided to just go ahead and upgrade to this other place that had a laundry. I could have a washer and dryer in my own unit, which I searched for years. It was impossible to find an affordable place and on Section 8 with your own washer and dryer. So, so that was why I ended up moving there. But just from the start, like, things weren't, I could tell I wasn't dealing with honest people. But at the time, like, I think there was things that I wasn't comfortable with. Now I'm looking back on it, that I overlooked, because at that time I was just trying to get through basically day by day. And so anyways, what it came down to is that I was given 60-day notice. I had to be out of my place by a certain time. I had nowhere to go. I pretty much ran out of resources. At that point, they had kept upping the rent for, a long time. They kept upping the rent every chance they got, and it got to the point where the rent was extremely high, to the point where I could barely really afford the rent on Section 8. And because I was working and I've had a good job for a long time, I was pretty much overqualified, but had figured out a way to reduce my hours as my pay got increased so that I could still qualify. But at the, there comes a point where you realize that there is going to be something better out there for you. and that if you're on Section 8, depending on your situation, you may just be using it as a crutch because it's something you're comfortable with, and that you're scared to get off of Section 8 because you don't know anything better or different. And for me, I used to think Section 8 was like a security blanket of like, oh, they got my back. Like, you know, I shouldn't get a slumlord because I have Section 8 and they have to follow these program rules and guidelines. Well, apparently everything's good and dandy, but when it comes down with the exception of mold, if you have mold in your place, Section 8 pretty much exonerates themselves from being responsible. They don't even inspect for mold, and if there is mold, they pretty much tell you you can rent the place at your own risk. And unfortunately, the last place I rented, it turned out was riddled with mold. That there was some sort of plumbing issue there that had gone on for years and years and years, and it was unresolved. It only got fixed when they wanted to sell. And they realized when the sale of the place fell through because of the condition of the unit and the fact that we were still staying there when they were trying to sell the place, the buyers got suspicious. They got tipped off by another place, by another person they knew that managed property by the people I was renting from, and had heard that the mold had been there for 10 years prior, which was very terrifying. Once I found that out, I gave 30-day notice. I packed my stuff and ran out of there as fast as I possibly can, because since I moved there, I have had increased health problems, and my kids, you know, that were born there, conceived there and born there, they also had a lot of respiratory issues. So basically, it just like pretty much came down to me realizing that my time was up and that it was the end of the road and that I needed to make a fresh start. I needed to get off Section 8 and I needed to go for making that leap into getting my own stuff. So I was thinking that worst comes to worst, I could go out of state if needed, but either way, come the time to get on my feet, I would have something. At that time, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to keep my job or what I could do to, you know, pretty much keep things intact. But it just turns out that, like, my husband, mom had offered to let us stay at their house temporarily, and so we just went with that option to see if that would work out, and we would give ourselves 6 months and then evaluate it from there. We had planned to stay there a lot longer than 6 months, but it just turned out that it didn't work out for either party. So in the end, I'm glad because it gave us the time to do what we needed. But also, that is not very much time also, but just letting you know that if you have a goal, you need to really get it handled as soon as possible and get into a better situation. Then, you know, just whatever you can do to minimize that time, just whatever you can do. Like, if you know, no matter how hard it is, it'll be worth it in the end if you can pay your debt. I mean, whatever you need to do. Like, you have to have the mindset of, like, this is going to happen, and I'm going to make it happen, and these are my resources, and I'm going to do it regardless. So, I just wanted to at least let you know that, you know, my last experience didn't end well, but that in the end it worked out good because it's what I needed at that time to better myself and to educate myself and to becoming more business-like. So, yeah, hopefully, I mean, that helps you guys to understand why I ended up going for it, because, you know, when you're in a critical living situation and things aren't working out and, you know, you have kids to take care of and you don't have anybody to fall back on to actually really help you, then you know, you just do what you can. Just do what you can, and just don't give up and keep trying, and you will eventually get to where you need to be. All right, well, and that was pretty much the pretty much what I wanted to say as far as you know, just yeah, basically how I ended up getting to this point, and I'm glad. I'm glad everything worked out. All right, you guys take care. I'll put another video out soon. Okay, bye.